Fortunately, my mother is a doctor. And the night I lost my virginity was crazy, but those aren't related yet. I skipped second grade, mostly because I was big. And so I ended up doing the kind of the boy stuff a little later. And I was not able to drive or really hairy until I was, 16 or so. My junior year, I was 17, and I was wrestling, and I was kind of macho and pretty ripped. No game, but that, full of hormones. And my parents made the mistake of leaving town without leaving me with anyone. And so, of course, I had a party. And we were drinking and having a great time. And for whatever reason, an opossum decided to crawl up onto the front porch of our house and curled up on the welcome mat. And people were kind of freaked out, and the girls are clumping over here, and the dude's like, "I'll get that possum. Come on, bro." And I was the host of the party, so I figured I had to take care of the possum. And I feel awful about this, but I beat that possum with a baseball bat. Animal mayhem. Anyway, as a result, I was full of this crazy charged energy, and we were drinking beers, and people were like, "Oh, we're out of beer." And I said, I'll go get beer. Does anybody want to go with me? And this woman decided to go with me to get beer. And so I almost said her name. Roulette Dotson and I got into my parents' Jeep Grand Wagoneer with the wood on the side. And we went and got beers, and then on the way back, we were coming, my parents' driveway is long, and so we were coming down the driveway. She said, "Stop the car." And I did, and we humped. And it was, I got it out of the way. I didn't distinguish myself. But that was, bucket list kind of stuff, right? So we went back to the party, and I'm all. We're drinking more beers, and then everyone goes home. So we're back at school, and I don't know, somehow some other people find out that I'd lost my virginity because I told them. And I felt really kind of like a stud. I had pubic hair, and I was the captain of the wrestling team, and women were looking at me and were interested in me, and I was experienced. So sometimes when you wrestle, because there's a lot of guys and a lot of sweat and a lot of rubber mats. You can get impetigo, which is a rash, kind of a like pussy, yucky rash. Did I mention that my mother was a dermatologist? So about 5 days after my awesome party, I started to feel itchy. And I remember I was sitting in math class. I was just like, I'm thinking, oh man, a wrestling infection. So I said, "Mom, will you take a look at something for me?" And she said, "Sure. Well, what are we looking at?" And I said, "Well, it's my groin or my waist area." And so I'll never forget this. It's burned into my brain. My mother, the physician, puts the seat down on the toilet and sits down and pulls the ever-present bifocals off of her bun, slides them in, and says, "Okay, bring it over here." So there I am, covering my penis in front of my mother, who's looking at my pubic hair with her bifocals. and kind of, pushing through it. And then she looks up at me and says, Lev, you got crabs. And you can't get that from casual contact. And of course, immediately I'm toilet seat, sleeping bag, I borrowed some jeans. So my mother, who's proactive, decided to, try to get on top of this as far as making sure this sort of thing didn't happen again. I got the stuff and the comb and the soap. And then I come home about 4 days later. On my bedroom door is a picture of a handsome gentleman with rain boots on and a raincoat on. And he's got his leg up on something like this. And so you can see that he's nude. And it said, "Good boys always wear their rubbers." And so, in my house, the phrase was born, "Keep your pants on or use a condom," which is short form is kaipuak. I'd like to leave you with that. I'd like you to know also that I'll be telling both of my children, not that story, but that acronym. Thank you.